Hello my beautiful little unicorns and welcome back to my channel. This is the first time that I've been given the pleasure to welcome you onto my channel. I'm Vanessa and I, and I would like to welcome you to the fam. So you guys, today's reading is all about your life for the rest of 2019. 2020 is rolling up real quick and I can't believe how this year has flown by. I mean, can you? It's been so quick. So I decided to do a reading for the rest of this year. So from this point up until the end of 2019. So in order to help you figure out what is going on in your life for the rest of this year, I have prepared 4 groups that you can choose from. And I would like you to pick one of these 4 groups intuitively. So the 4 groups are as follows. I have the red Jasper, the zebra Jasper, I have the Diopside, as well as the Quartz. But you guys, as you know, the timestamps are linked down below in the description box, as well as in the comment section. So once you've chosen the group that you feel resonates the most with you, you can click your timestamp to fast forward to your reading. You guys, today's reading is going to be very interactive. Usually I prepare groups. Today I thought I'm not going to prepare any groups at all. I'm going to be choosing cards very intuitively from my tarot deck, my tattoo tarot deck, my unicorn deck, as well as my crystal deck. So I hope you guys can appreciate me switching up the format a little bit to keep things interesting. And I heard from a lot of you that you find it more like the reading is live and happening in a way more personal way. So that is why I decided to bring this format into the mix. So if you do enjoy it, make sure that you let me know in the comment section so that I know to, continue this sort of format, maybe switch it to something else. I like to deliver the readings the way you enjoy them. And before I get into the readings, I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you. I'm just sending you positive vibes, love and light, because your support means everything to me. I just can't believe how amazing my channel is, like what a supportive community we have here. And this space is just really my sacred space, and I hope that you feel the same way. I know, enough of the cheesy talk. I want to get into the readings because I'd rather spend more time within the readings rather than, in the intro, just babbling along. So let's get straight into the readings with the first group, which corresponds to the red Jasper. Hello group number 1 and welcome to your reading. So you chose the red Jasper. So group number 1, as I mentioned to you, this reading is going to be very interactive, but let's start off with the card that laid under your mineral. So we have the 5 of Cups. So within the 5 of Cups, I see that for the rest of this year, you're sort of going to be missing something or somebody. So you're gonna have this feeling of longing for something. You're gonna have this feeling like, oh, I wish he or she were here. I wish that on an emotional level, I would be a little more nurtured. So that is one thing that I see, this sort of longing for home, this longing for a space that is a bit more warm, a bit more nurturing and comforting. But let's move further into your reading to figure out a little more. So then we have the 3 of Cups. So group number 1, the 3 of Cups shows me that despite the fact that you have this feeling of longing, of maybe almost a little bit of homesickness, there is also a time here for festivities. So obviously, during the rest of 2019, we have a lot of those traditional festivities. I mean, we have Thanksgiving for some of you, we have a Christmas, we have Halloween, all of those things going on, and also things like parties, birthday parties, maybe anniversaries, weddings, etc. Those are all things that you may be attending and that you may have time to gather together with other people, spend time with other people, and be social. So allow yourself to cure a little bit of this feeling of being alone by spending time with other people and by seeing the beauty in these festivities that we have going on for the rest of this year. So then we have the Sun. So group number 1, the Sun is generally speaking a very positive card. This card, when it shows up in your reading, just shows that there is a time of happiness. There is a time of joy, and usually this card turns any card that is less favorable in your reading into something that is less heavy, into something that is more positive. So maybe this feeling of longing in correlation to the Sun means that you just sort of wish that you were in a different spot, maybe romantically, or that you had a little more attention, but it's not really detrimental. It's not really going to kill you. I know sometimes you just sit there and you're like, can I die from not having enough attention? Seriously, when we're honest with ourselves, a little bit of dramatic behavior can be the case for some of us. So if you're guilty of that, it's completely fine. It's normal. Know that in the sun, your ventures are blessed for the rest of 2019. Anything that you want to do is going to most likely turn out in a positive way. So that is amazing for you, group number 1. So let's move even further into your reading. Okay, we have the 5 of Wands. So one thing that I see within the 5 of Wands is, I mean, do you see how there's kind of like a little bit of a power struggle? There's a little something going on here where there is maybe confusion, where there is a struggle, where there is a little bit of friction, so to say. And I don't want you to freak out about that. I feel like the friction is creatively. The suit of Wands is one of passion, is one of creativity, is one of you coming up with new great ideas. So maybe you're going to be in a little bit of a rut for a while when it comes to your creative endeavors or just coming up with new ideas, but that's fine because we can be great at every area of life all the time. So things happen, you know, sometimes you're a little less creative, sometimes you're a little more creative. It's not really that detrimental or a big deal. Then we have the 7 of Swords. Group number 1, look out for the truth, okay? Because I feel like when it comes to communication, you have to be honest with the people around you. Don't try and give half truths. Don't try and, you know, not tell people certain things because you know they don't want to hear it. And in turn, be very careful with what is being communicated with you. If you feel like somebody isn't telling the whole truth, they're probably not telling the whole truth. And just keep an eye out for that, especially when it comes to business. So let's see what we got. We got the 2 of Cups. And the 2 of Cups, I see emotional fulfillment with another person. You know, we have 2 people here and a relationship is between 2 people. So I see a bond sort of being solidified. I see also great chances for a new bond to come into your life. But let's see, in correlation to the yellow Jasper, I see that you can be able to give up sort of like control issues. So if you feel like you can be a little bit controlling in relationships, or there are certain relationships where you're very overly protective, I see this happening in a more favorable way for the rest of 2019. You're going to be able to ease up a little bit. And, you know, oftentimes control issues comes from a point where you're a little bit insecure about where you stand. So I see that that relationship is going to solidify itself more. So maybe with a friend or with somebody who you have a situationship with, you're not sure where you stand, but as I said, it's going to come to a point where there is more commitment, or where you're at least a bit more sure where you stand and just how things are. So you don't have to feel like controlling the situation. You don't have to feel like you need to be insecure in any way, shape, or form. But the same also goes for sort of finding out that maybe you have not been dealing with the person who you thought you've been dealing with, all because they haven't been communicating clearly. And then in turn, you know, obviously letting somebody go out of your life and strengthening the relationships with the people like your siblings, your mother, just people who you know are going to be there forever. That is in turn also a possibility. So let's move even further into your reading. We have the Garnet. I see that it's time to release any sort of physical, mental toxins from your life. For the rest of this year, you have accumulated toxins mentally, physically, and it's time to let go of them, because if you keep them within your life, they're just going to keep blocking things up. And I feel like in correlation to the 5 of Wands, that is exactly the situation. This groggy, clogged up, clumpy, lumpy thing, okay? And it has to do with you needing to purify, because when things start to like block up, so to say, when things start to clog, okay, see it as a clog. You need to purify, you need to get rid of it. And if you do not unclog, for instance, your chakras, so if one of your chakras is all clogged and stuffy, if you do not get rid of that, it's just going to further create issues, and things are going to just back up even more, just like with a drain, for instance. I know that sounds really weird, but you guys always get what I mean. So be sure to detox, be sure to purify. If you want to smudge, if you want to use sage, if that is something that makes you feel like your space is cleansed, do not deny yourself of the beauty that lies within just believing, because that is one thing that spirituality teaches us, that belief can cure ailments. So just believing that smudging, saging is going to clear your space from negativity, whether it actually would do it or not, if you believe it does and you have a positive outcome through it, heck, why not? Moving further into your reading, let's pick a unicorn card. So nature. For the rest of 2019, I see that grounding yourself in the nature, your sanctuary, being in the nature, is something that can be exceedingly difficult depending on where you live. But either way, those moments that you spend within the nature, those moments that you spend just outdoors, sort of detached and away from social media, from the internet, are going to ground you and are going to bring you back to a positive space where you feel whole. Because when we're constantly connected, constantly online, it can be exhausting and it can drain us more than we notice. So when you get into the nature, you'll be able to take a deep breath of fresh air and tell yourself, wow, this is what it feels like to be free. This is what it feels like to just let go and detox. So let's see what we got next. We have leadership. I see that stepping into your leadership role for the rest of this year is one thing that is going to come up for you, group number one. You're going to have to take the lead. And another thing that I see is that you will be able to inspire others like that, and you will be able to empower others. So if you have a lot of work to do for the rest of this year, step into the leadership role of you getting things done, of you just showing people how you're ending this year on a fantastic note, where you get a lot of work done, where you're very successful, and where you make sure that you're efficient. So don't just be busy, be efficient. That is so much better than just, sitting there wasting your time working all day but not really getting to the core of what needs to be done. So look at being efficient. So last but not least, we have beloved. One thing that I see here is that if you're single, prepare for your life partner to enter your life very soon. This could be between now and the end of the year or shortly after. Another thing that we have in beloved is the fact that romance is returning back to relationships, and the fact that you will be able to believe that you're lovable again. You will be able to believe that you're worthy. So if you feel like you've been struggling a little bit with your self-worth, or struggling a little bit with feeling good about yourself sexually, intimately, I see this coming back for the end of 2019. I see you're getting that sort of energy, that groove back, where you feel attractive, and that in turn makes you attractive to other people. So group number one, I truly hope that you found this reading insightful, comprehensive, and fun with this new format. Either way, make sure that you let me know, and wherever you are in this world, if it's day or nighttime, I hope that you're having an amazing, super positive time, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, group number two, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the zebra Jasper. So group number two, I want to get straight into your reading. So let's figure out what we have in the card that came with the zebra Jasper. So we have the Seven of Pentacles. One thing that I see for you, group number two, is that things are going to start growing. Things are actually going to start to come from the little seed that you once planted and start to bear fruits, if you know what I mean. So if you were working on a project for a while, if you've been sort of planting little seeds in order to allow yourself to grow in the earthly realms when it comes to creating more time, more financial abundance, more health, I see that you will slowly but surely see things turning into results. You will slowly see results with your health. You will see results with whatever you've done for your career that you wanted to further your career in, or maybe you've just been studying a whole lot for school and all of a sudden your grades are going to be looking up. Either way, things are starting to head to a point where you can sort of pluck the fruit that you've tried to grow, but not yet, group number two. Still allow things to develop, still allow things to solidify a little more. So it's almost like in the stock exchange, you know what I mean? So if you, for instance, buy stocks, they go up in value, you don't want to sell them just as they're going up. You want to wait till they reach the peak, and then they start, to slowly head down, and that's when you want to sell, so you get the most bang for your buck, so to say. So see this as the message that is here in the Seven of Pentacles. But let's move further into your reading. So we have Temperance, okay? So I want you to take everything a little easy for the rest of this year. I want you to have sort of composure. I want you to keep yourself in a space where you don't get tempted to do things in a rush, where you don't get tempted to do things that are not healthy for you. I want you to have patience. Patience is key for you, group number two, because that is one thing that I see in the Seven of Pentacles. You need patience. As we spoke about before, when I made that example with the stock exchange, you don't want to start plucking the fruits too early. You don't want to start taking things from places where they still have growing to do. And that is one thing that I see Temperance here reiterating. It is so essential for you to be patient with your endeavors. And also another thing about about temperance is do not overindulge, okay? So for the rest of 2019, there may be a lot of festivities where there's alcohol, unhealthy food, things that you know are going to lower your vibration, because there is such a thing as low vibrational foods and beverages. Alcohol, for instance, low vibrational. Things like processed foods, low vibrational foods. Try and keep yourself high up. So yes, there are festivities that you need to participate in for the rest of 2019, but at the same time, don't let those ruin your mojo. So if you go, for instance, for a dinner, a Halloween dinner, a Christmas, a Thanksgiving dinner, whatever dinner it is that you're going for, and it's unhealthy, make sure that the next day you make up for it. You eat healthy food, fruits, things that are still alive, you know, plants. That is what I'm talking about. So let's move a little further into your reading. We have the Nine of Pentacles. So we have a very earthly reading for you, group number 2. I see that things of the earthly plane are going to be important for the rest of this year. And in the Nine of Pentacles, I want you to know that you're getting close to a point of completion where you need to start looking at the next project that you want to tackle. You need to start looking at the next things that you want to take on when it comes to the earthly plane. So maybe you want to try working out a little bit harder, challenging yourself a little more to do, for instance, a juice cleanse. Maybe try and just eat 3 portions of fruit and vegetable a day. I mean, I don't know what level you're at, but I see you trying to step it up. I see you knowing that it is now time to go on to that next stepping stone and try and reach that next level of being healthy, that next level of optimizing your work and life balance, which I think should always be something that flows into each other. It shouldn't be completely separate, but that's just my opinion. And just basically making things in the earthly planes a lot more optimized for your life. So then we have the King of Pentacles. Okay, earthliness, okay, money, finances, health. This is all the main focal point for the rest of 2019 for you, group number 2. And in the King of Pentacles, I see that there is sort of authority within you. There is a part of you that is content. There is a part of you that knows that for the rest of 2019, things will probably look up financially. You will be stable. You will be at a place where you can potentially save money, where you can potentially reinvest money in something that you've always wanted to reinvest it in. So make smart decisions financially. I see that you have the possibility to do so. I see that you have the possibility to build the next stage of your financial sort of portfolio. So make use of that and try not to splurge too much. Okay, that is always one thing that is hard at the end of each year, to not splurge, especially when things are on sale and so on. Think to yourself, do you really need it, or do you just want it because it's on sale? Do you just want it because it's a good deal? So keep that in mind. Then we have the Knight of Swords. Okay, you're assertive. That is what I see for the rest of 2019. I see that anybody who comes in your way, you're just gonna stop them right there and say, no, this is actually what I'm doing. This is actually where my life is going. I see you being outspoken. I see you not taking a crap from anybody, so to say, and not caring about whether that hurts anybody's feelings, because you feel like that is a them problem. Because oftentimes there can be people in your life who are nosy. There can be people who want to know what's going on here. You know, how are you doing financially? How is your health doing? How are you managing your life? And you're just going to set up healthy boundaries and communicate very clearly up until this point and not any further, because you know that you just don't have time for those games. You don't have time to be explaining yourself, and you shouldn't be explaining yourself. So group number 2, know that that sort of behavior of trying to justify certain actions, you don't have time for this for the rest of 2019. You're just not going to care about anybody who isn't here to see you win, which I think is a really great attitude for the rest of this year, because it's looking busy. Then we have the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, group number 2, what is going on here? Are you an earth sign maybe? Are you dealing with an earth sign in the King of Pentacles? I don't know, but in the Ten of Pentacles, I see completion. One of your projects is gonna be done. Maybe you're studying for a big exam or just like the next level. And by the end of 2019, you know, like you can look on to the next thing, you know you've completed it, you're content. You can sit back and enjoy what you have created. So yes, there are things that are still growing, but at the same same time, there are things that you can already enjoy. And I definitely have the feeling that it has to do with the fact that there may be some extra money coming in for you for the rest of this year. So let's move further into your reading. We have the Dolomite. I see that you will have a very sort of positive mindset, which you will then notice is going to bring you a lot of fruit within the earthly planes. It's going to bring you a lot of unexpected gifts, so to say, and unexpected miracles. So know that your positive mindset is what will allow you to have a positive outcome within your life. A negative mindset will never give you a positive life, and that is just a fact. And that is one thing that you're really reiterating in your life. That is one thing that you're really going to be focusing on for the rest of this year, just creating the most positive outcome that you can. Then in patience, I see that you have to think before you take action. We already spoke about this in temperance. This is just the universe sort of reiterating. This is the universe sort of putting this synchronicity in where we're constantly reminding you like, hey, you need to be patient. Hey, you need to let things take their time to develop. And that is one thing that I see in patience, and that, you know, the universe is at work. Divine timing is always working overtime and harder than anybody else. And I want you to know that you can just have fun while you're waiting for certain things to happen, because that in the earthly realms, just chill, okay? Don't worry about finances. Don't worry about your health and your time. I see that you're doing great, sweetie. You're doing great. And I want you to really allow yourself to also have fun and play. We don't have very much here about you emotionally, about you and your relationships, which leads me to think that it is time to turn to that. It is time to know that, okay, in the earthly realms, there is a reason why you're tuned into this reading and why I'm here to tell you that things will be okay. Maybe you have to focus a little more on just staying strong in your positivity within your relationships, and just give the other things time to develop a little more. In the Moonstone, I see that being extra aware of that internal feeling that you have, of your intuition, is something that will help you immensely for the rest of this year. That is something that will allow you to make the best possible decisions, and that will allow you to really feel good about the decisions you make. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you should have made one decision, but you ended up making another and you sort of regretted it? You were like, wow, I should have just always went with my gut feeling, because my gut feeling didn't lie. My gut feeling was always right. And that is one thing that I see for you, group number 2. So don't make that mistake again. Listen to your gut feeling, and don't deny yourself of just allowing yourself to not be rational sometimes. Just tell yourself, hey, if my gut tells me this, might as well listen to my gut. We have adventure, okay? I see that you have to do things a little differently. I feel like maybe you have a certain system here, a certain way that you do work or that you study that you feel has the best possible outcome. But I see that you can venture a little bit away from that sort of cookie cutter thing that you made for yourself, that cookie cutter shape that you cut your cookies out with, that you cut certain things in your life out with. You can venture away from that a little bit and take time to follow your dreams more. I see that you can move to a new location physically, and that will inspire you. So I'm not telling you to pack up your bags and move to another city or another town or another place in this world. You don't need to go that far. Just packing your bags for a weekend, or to just go see something else, something that is a little culturally different, unusual to you. Maybe even go to a museum, something that is educational as to what else is out there. It will just give you a completely new vibe for the rest of this year. It will give you a new inspiration that you can use to just make things even better. I know, I mean, things already sound really awesome for you, group number 2, but making things even better. So then we have past lives, last but not least. I want you to release any past life karma. I feel like that is something that you're still dealing with, that is following you. And I see that you are an old soul, okay? You are somebody who doesn't like meaningless conversation. You don't like small talk. You don't like to talk about things that are just like wishy-washy, that don't have a lot of substance. You're somebody of a lot of substance. You're somebody who likes to know a little something about everything, but I feel like you also hold a lot of resentment when you make mistakes. You also hold a lot of grudges with yourself, or when you feel like this is something that you shouldn't have done, this is something where you should have known better, you can be very hard on yourself. So things are going great for you. I want you to look at all of the positive aspects within your life, group number 2. Don't be tough on yourself and allow yourself to truly just enjoy all that is going on here in the earthly planes. I see that you're probably looking good. Your bank account is probably going to look healthy, and just things in the earthly plane, you're going to be making time for the things that you have to make time for, and ventures are growing, ventures are thriving. So take this ride in a way that you just feel positive about everything. Don't let any negativity into your life, and give things the patience that it deserves. Do not try and rush any of your new ventures or your ventures that are still growing. So group number 2, that is a reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you found it insightful, maybe even a little motivational and inspirational, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Diopside. So group number 3, I want to figure out what's going on with you and your life for the rest of 2019. So let's see what card was under your mineral. So we have the 4 of Pentacles. One thing that I see in the 4 of Pentacles is that you have to let loose. Okay, the 4 of Pentacles tells me that you may be worried about finances, you may be worried about things in the earthly plane, and it's time for you to just relax a little bit. It's time for you to not cling on to what you already have, because that is just going to sort of cultivate friction. It's going to just cultivate this sort of scarcity, this feeling of scarcity within your life, which then in turn is going to attract even more scarcity. So know that when you cling on to things, when you're being a little stingy with yourself, that just reflects even more on your life. It just like attracts more stinginess into your life. And sorry if I stare into my viewfinder, I just want to make sure that you guys can see all the cards. So let's move further into your reading. In the Empress, I see a very fertile time. I see a time that is wonderful, okay? And I know this sounds really cheesy, but with fertile time, I mean, for instance, a fertile time for yourself, or a fertile time for somebody close to you, for somebody in your life who's maybe trying to conceive or trying to become a mother in some way or another. So one thing that I want you to do within this time is to channel more of that energy, to channel more of the energy that a mother would have. A mother would not show their child, you know, when they worry about finances, about things of the earthly plane. A mother is there to sort of tell their child, the people around them, that everything is going to be okay. And that takes a lot of strength, but at the same time, I want you to give yourself that. I want you to give yourself that strength to be like, you know what, things are going to turn out okay. I shouldn't worry so much about, will I achieve this education? Will I once have X, Y, and Z amount of money? Or will I own my own house or this car or whatever? Just allow things to flow, allow things to happen, because worrying at the end of the day, group number 3, is not going to do anything for you. It's not going to make anything come into your life any faster. So that is just what I see here in the Empress. Then we have the 10 of Wands. In the 10 of Wands, I see kind of like exhaustion coming from the fact that maybe you're tired of worrying, you're tired of being in a situation where you're clinging on to things, or where you're sort of afraid that if you let things slip, that things would just be fatal. And in the 10 of Wands, I want you to know that it is time for you to relax. For the rest of 2019, plan a little bit of time just to relax, take time off, take time to recuperate, and to do the things that you love. Plan like a girl's weekend, a guy's weekend. Time away in a spa, for instance, or even if it's just doing like your at-home spa, it doesn't matter, but I see that you need to recharge. I see that your soul is kind of at a point for the rest of 2019 where you're wounded almost, and maybe you've been through a lot in 2019. Maybe emotionally, you've been through the ringer, you've been through ups and downs with people, you've been in situations where you had really cool ideas, but for some reason you couldn't follow through with them. For some reason you couldn't actually make them a reality just yet. And I just see exhaustion from 2019, and that you have to take time to fill up your well, to recharge your battery. So moving further into your reading in the Eight of Wands, I see a time where, recharging your battery is going to come with a sort of variety of ideas. So as soon as you start to put more energy back into your body, as soon as you start to make yourself feel better, more vital, all of a sudden you're going to have this surge of energy, this surge of passion and creativity, and you're going to have a drive to do something, okay? I see a big idea nesting itself into your brain and making itself more and more noticeable the more you relax, the more you chill out, the more you allow yourself to just take time to cool down, calm down from everything that has happened this year. Then we have the Nine of Wands. So in the Nine of Wands, this just goes together with the Ten of Wands. Rest, okay? Group number 3, like how many times am I supposed to say this? Take a nap, okay? If you're watching this video right now, have a snack, drink something, take a nap, go to bed early. I see in the Nine of Wands exhaustion, okay? So there is potential here. There is infinite potential for new ideas, but at the same time, you first need to recuperate. You first need to give your body time to just get its strength back, gain its strength back, and feed yourself properly, nourish yourself. So then we have the Queen of Swords. One thing that I see in the Queen of Swords for you, group number 3, is just the fact that you have to be very assertive for the rest of this year. I see that you're going to have to say things how they are, and the Queen of Swords is not one to beat around the bush. The Queen of Swords has both the energy, say, of the King of Swords, where she's very assertive, she says it how it is, and she's intellectually very sharp, but she has a little bit more of that soft edge, a little bit more of that nurturing side. And that is what I see in the Empress as well. So you will be able to communicate your needs, your wants, the things that you don't want in your life, and you will be able to do it in a way where people receive it in the best possible way without feeling like you're too harsh. But still, watch your tongue, be a little careful. Sometimes things can come out a little harsher than you intended for them to come out, and that is one thing that I want you to be aware of within your relationships, because that is always something that we have little control over, how somebody else perceives what we're saying. So try your best to make sure that nobody can take what you're saying the wrong way or run with it and then twist it or turn it around, because that is one thing that I see that you're kind of over. That is one thing that I see that people may have done to you in the past. They may have taken things that you said out of context, ran with it, and then just made it in a way where you constantly had to come back and correct the statements and say, no, I didn't mean it that way, I meant it this way. So focus on how you say things. Focus on being just a little more out there emotionally, a little more soft, if you will. Moving further into reading in the Smoky Quartz, I see clearing negativity. So one thing that I just want to let you know is that I feel like you have a very hard shell. I feel like you have a hard exterior, to the point where people may feel like you're always angry or like you're always in a bad mood, just because you're not somebody who walks around like, if you know what I mean. So in clearing negativity, I want you to know that because of that, you may have accumulated some sort of negativity, because through people finding it hard to reach you or get close to you, or feeling sort of intimidated by you, it could be that you pick up those vibes of negativity, where people are kind of like a little like, ooh, I'm not completely sure, even though that is not what you mean to do, but you don't control how people perceive you. So you can just try and do your best to make your messages as crystal clear as you can. So as I said, you may have picked up some negativity along the way, or some feelings where you're like, why are people not approaching me? Why are people finding it so hard to just like talk to me, or just say what's up, or just say hi? And that is a feeling that can sort of fester and make you feel like there's something wrong with you. But group number 3, there is nothing wrong with you. The only thing that you need to work on is making sure that that is not a feeling that stays. That is not a feeling that resides within you and then slowly but surely turns into insecurity of you feeling like, something is wrong with me. That is not the case, okay? You may just be a little difficult to approach, but for the rest of this year, one thing that I see in the Tanzanite is that you can move past that. I see that you will be able to open your heart and open yourself a little more to the point where people can tell, like, okay, you're making a conscious effort to be a little bit more approachable, even if you don't necessarily always want to be approachable. But try and just give yourself a little bit more of a gentle, well-rounded edge, if you will. So I also see in the Tanzanite that you're ready to receive love for the rest of 2019. So if people want to give you love, if people want to show you how much you mean to them. Don't allow that to make you feel uncomfortable. I know that sometimes when people want to give, it can make you uncomfortable just because you're the kind of person who is self-reliant. You don't want people doing things for you all the time. You are one who likes to do things by themselves, who likes to just get things done, and you don't necessarily want to be that burden. But don't allow yourself to feel that way. Allow yourself to receive love. Allow yourself to receive any of that form of goodness that people would like to give to you for the rest of 2019. And in friendship, I see that that is definitely your family, your closest friends, who want to just show you how much you mean to them. So don't allow it to turn awkward. I know it can be really hard sometimes when you feel a little awkward about receiving and a little awkward about people caring so much about you, but you're worthy of it. And another thing that I see in friendship is that you can spend more time socializing and just surrounding yourself with the people who you care about and who are truly positive and here for you to win and here for your highest good. That is something that is going to recharge you, even if you're more of a loner, even if you're more of somebody who for the rest of 2019 just wants to focus on their stuff. I see that being around people who truly care about you is just going to give you a little bit more of a confidence boost, is just going to give you a little bit more of a feeling where you're like, okay, maybe socializing isn't so bad. Maybe being in a crowd of people can be fun if it's the right kind of people. So group number 3, we have gentleness. I see being more kind to yourself and others is what is up for you for the rest of 2019. I see that speaking more words of love is something that is going to come. Maybe it's just the time of the year. Maybe you're really into this sort of cozy, warm, festive time. I mean, okay, it also depends on where you live in this world. Some people, it's, hot where you're from, but where I'm from, things are a little cozy because outside it's cold, so inside it's more of a warm mood. And just generally the mood between people, the mood between, you, your friends, your family, that is what I mean with warmth. And that is something that I feel like we all have at this time during the year. Just warmth and love for each other, wanting to spend more time together and to make sure that we start the upcoming year on a good note, that we still make time for the people closest to us and that we're caring, that we're gentle, that we're there for them. And also nurture yourself. One thing that I see is that I feel like you have really high expectations for yourself and you're somebody who may be an overachiever, but for the rest of 2019, I see that that will just bring you like sort of crises, like worry. And what you need to do is be a bit more gentle with yourself. You need to be a bit less hard on yourself to the point where you're like, yes, I'm an overachiever, but even an overachiever needs a little bit of downtime. Even an overachiever needs time to recuperate, recharge, so the overachiever can overachieve, if you know what I mean. You cannot constantly be running on 1,000 miles per hour. Then in discernment, one thing that I see is that for you, for the rest of 2019, I want you to watch out. Not everything is what it seems. There are still hidden layers within the rest of this year, and you have to stay true to your knowing. You have to stay true to what it is that you believe in. And for now, I want you to keep certain things a secret. So maybe there is a project that you're working on, group number 3. Maybe there is something that you want for yourself that you haven't been sure whether you should share it yet or whether you should keep it to yourself, whether you should tell certain people or whether it's best to just wait till it has actually fabricated into reality. And I want you to keep it to yourself. In correlation to the rest of the reading, I feel like if that is, for instance, trying to get pregnant, or it has to do with a venture here, a creative venture, something that maybe you have created that you want to put out there and that you're very proud of, I want you to keep it to yourself for the rest of 2019. It is not the right time to share just yet. The reason will reveal itself sooner rather than later, but it is important for you to just, keep your business to yourself, keep it to a very, very close circle. Maybe tell somebody like a sibling, your mother, your partner, but overall, don't scream your achievements right from the rooftops yet, because I see that those achievements may still change. There may still be things that add on to them. There may still be things that change in a way where all of a sudden the achievement turns into something completely different. So I want you to keep things to yourself until they're solidified, in order to avoid any sort of confusion publicly, in order to avoid anybody getting too much up in your business, because as I said, healthy boundaries that is what we're doing for the rest of 2019. So group number 3, that is a reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and I hope that you found it insightful. Let me know down in the comment section if you did, and wherever you are in this world, whether it's day or night, I wish you a super positive and amazing time, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello group number 4 and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Quartz. So group number 4, I want to get straight into your reading about what is going on in your life for the rest of 2019. So first up, we have the World. So group number 4, this is the last card of the major arcana. I want you to know that this is a card of completion, where you feel satisfied at the end of the year, where you're like, wow, what is coming up next? Because this year I've completed it on a note where I'm happy with my achievements, where I'm happy with where I've come so far, and I'm looking up to the next chapter. I'm looking over to see what I can do next, what I can achieve in 2020. So I see some sort of feeling of fulfillment, a feeling where you feel like things are complete, things are together, and you know what? Your life is more put together than you expected. That is what I see for the rest of 2019, which is a great feeling to have. Then we have the High Priestess. So group number 4, the High Priestess shows me that you have to take a little bit of time also away for yourself, just to do some deep thinking, to do some deep emotional digging, so to say. At the end of 2019, you're going to be re-evaluating the year. You're going to be re-evaluating all the things that you've lived through and all of the changes that have happened. You may not recognize yourself by the end of the year. You may have completely changed from where you were at the beginning of the year, and these next months are crucial for that. These next months are going to bring you even more maturity. They're going to bring you even more wisdom and knowledge, and that is something that no book can teach you. It's something that you experience. Then in the Queen of Wands, I see that you will do so confidently. The rest of 2019 is a time where you will do things creatively, where you will do things passionately, with confidence, and with sort of this power within your stride, with sort of this energy about you where you're like, I know what I'm doing. And I see you embracing your divine feminine side. I see very much feminine energy, not so much phallic energy. Yes, the Queen of Wands, that is like a phallic symbol, but we have the Queen, we have the High Priestess. There is very much nurturing energy here. There is energy that is emotionally balanced and that is also here to speak about things that can be difficult to speak about, to look past just, you know, what is here in the now, to look a little bit deeper into your mental state and other people's mental states. So then we have the Hanged Man. So group number 4 in the Hanged Man, I see that you're going to be content with just taking things a little slower. I see that there may be information that you still need in order to make that next decision, in order to decide where you're going in love, where you're going in your career or your personal life. So on a spiritual level, I see that what you need is a little more answers. What you need is just a little more knowledge over spirituality in general before you get to that next level, as well as in love. I see that you're content just keeping things as they are right now, and for the rest of 2019, if you know you're just single, if you're maybe in this relationship, you're going to feel comfortable. You're going to feel like you have everything that you need. I see this sort of sense of contentment within your reading. I see that there are a lot of things that are out of your control. You know, the World, the High Priestess, as well as the Hanged Man. These 3 cards are all from the major arcana, and the major arcana are things that happen in your life that you have little control over. So I don't want you to sweat the small stuff. I want you to know that a lot is in the hands of the universe in your life for the rest of 2019. Not really much that you can do to shake these events. There's not really much that you can do to shake the fact that, yeah, you're just going to be content and you're going to let things happen. You're going to take things slow if you need to. And you know, if there's nothing that you feel like there is a need to change, then you're just not going to. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In the Page of Pentacles, I see starting something new in the material plane, starting something new when it comes maybe to money, maybe when it comes to your health, your fitness. You're going to be starting off with something where you're a complete novice, where you're not sure what you're doing, but that has a lot of potential. That brings a lot of potential because you may discover something that works out really, really well for you. So that may be how you can, for instance, make more money with a side hustle. It could also be how you can be healthier or make more time for yourself and your loved ones. Either way, In the Page of Pentacles, I see that time is something that is valuable, but time is something that you're going to have to put in to further yourself. It's something that you're going to have to put in to make sure everything, all of your ducks are in a row when it comes to the earthly plane. So set time aside for that. I see in the Hanged Man that you probably will be able to put a little bit of time aside to just optimize things in the earthly planes. And then last but not least, we have the Three of Pentacles, where I see that just confiding in other people, asking other people for their opinion on what you should do when it comes to your health, when it comes to your finances, the people closest to you, people who have done what you're trying to do. So one thing that I would advise you to do, take advice from people who are where you're trying to go. Take advice from people who have achieved something that you want to achieve. If you, for instance, take advice from somebody who is successful, but they're not doing what you want to do, then what's the point? You know, they won't lead you into the direction where you want to go. So try and look for a sort of mentor figure. Try and look for somebody who can teach you for the rest of 2019 knowledge that you can use for 2020. I see the time is here for it as long as you carve the time out. I see that you're at a point where you're willing to learn, where there's no sort of emotional turmoil going on that is detrimental to you furthering things and for you preparing yourself to make the next year awesome. Try and just put in that effort and try and pre-work for what is coming. But it's not really pre-work, because whether you do the work now or next year, I mean, the earlier you do it, the better, because time is precious. So don't waste any of it. Moving further into your reading in the Amber, I see that it is so important for you to focus on your breath and to just with each exhale, just try and release any sort of burdens. Try and release any situation that is making your heart feel heavy. That is one thing that I see in the Amber. I want you to make use of the universe, and I want you to make use of that belief that there is a higher power here that can take burdens off of your shoulder. So use this form of thinking and use meditation in order to clear yourself from a heavy heart, in order to allow yourself to feel light, uplifted, and fresh, if you know what I mean. Moving further into reading in the Azurite, one thing that I see is that for the rest of 2019, there is a lot of change going on emotionally. I see that your heart is involved. So maybe you've been hurt, your heart has been broken, but there is deep emotional healing for you, and there is a situation where you will be able to get out of this blue state. So there isn't much about you emotionally within your reading. There are major, life changes or just things that are happening that you don't necessarily have a lot of control over, but it is essential for you to know that emotionally, one thing that I see that you do have control over is healing. And in correlation to the Hanged Man, I want you to not rush anything. If you have to just put yourself in a situation where you have no control, where you're sort of just allowing things to happen, then do so. If there is a new love interest in your life and you're sort of afraid to immerse yourself into the feelings because you've been hurt before, because you know that it's taken so much healing for you in the past to get over past wounds, I want you to give up any sort of feelings that you have to be in control, because that is just going to destroy all of the fun. That is just going to take away from the feelings of love and excitement and just enjoying the moment. So while there is emotional healing that I see here that can be done or is maybe necessary, at the same time, don't close yourself off. At the same time, leave yourself open to love, maybe new friendships, and just rediscovering your romantic side, if you know what I mean. So in the Emerald, we have ceremonies and celebrations. I see that important life passages are happening. So Christmas, for instance, may be something that you celebrate. New Year's, Halloween, Thanksgiving, those are all things happening in this time. I'm sure there are tons of other festivities, but one thing that I see here is that it's important for you to focus on these important passages and to be fully immersed in them. So if you're somebody who doesn't take a lot of photos, for instance, start taking photos of these events, start holding these precious memories somewhere, start keeping them somewhere, because it's important for you to keep those memories sacred, because you never know what tomorrow will bring. You never know who is going to be here one day and maybe somewhere else in this world another day, or somewhere else in this, spiritual realm. That is one thing that I want you to focus on. Also, if you have pets that mean a lot to you, make sure that you make them a part of these ceremonies. Take pictures with them. Make sure that you keep memories sacred. That is one thing that I see the universe urging you to do, but don't take that lightly. In cycles, I see that everything has a right time. Okay, we have the end of a cycle here. We have the world, the end of the major arcana cycle, and it is very clear that you have to also honor the cycles of your body. I see that there is something mystical, there is something magical. We have a lot of purple within here. We have the moon, and I want you to know that the moon controls so much more than just the tides. It controls like the human cycle, the hormones, etc. Also with animals, there is just so much that the moon controls, and life just works in cycles. And the better you know yourself as well as your cycles and how the moon cycles, the more you'll know how to control yourself emotionally, how you can nurture your body, when to nurture your body a certain way, and when you need what sort of nutrients, when you need what sort of time out, when it's best for you to speak to friends, when it's best for you to spend time alone, and when it's just best for you to eat healthily, and when you can maybe pig out and have a little more fun with junk food and alcohol, for instance. But those are obviously just examples. All I'm trying to let you know, group number 4, is that for the rest of 2019, getting to know your cycles a little better is going to be beneficial for you, because that is going to put you in more control over yourself and your health, your body, your emotional plane. So moving into the last bit of your reading, we have possibility. I see that there is a lot of possibility in this rest of 2019. There is a lot where you can make choices, where you have the freedom to choose from a lot of different possibilities. And I want you to know that your potential is unlimited, but you have to believe in it. If you feel like you're sort of down to just one choice, or if you feel like you can't expect too much out of yourself, then obviously not much is going to come out of you. But if you feel like your potential is unlimited, if you feel like you can raise your expectations, your standards when it comes to what you're able to achieve, then obviously you will be achieving more because your standards are higher. So know that standards, it's just this sort of like invisible barrier that we set up for ourselves. It's this invisible sort of plane that we put up that we can either reach or that we can either stay under. So make sure that you set your expectations really high. Know that so many people have set their expectations super high, and even if they didn't land exactly where they wanted to land on the first try, they maybe eventually got there. And if they didn't eventually get to this super ultra high expectation, they got somewhere in between, which was way higher than they ever thought possible if they would have never even set that bar. You know what I mean? So keep that belief strong that you can achieve anything, and know that for the rest of 2019, there isn't really anything to worry about. A lot of it is in the hands of the universe. A lot of it is just moving towards completing this year on a note of fulfillment, on a note where you can start a new cycle, and getting to know your current cycles, getting to know just how your body works, how your emotions work, how your intuition works. That is something that is going to help you as your new cycle begins after the end of this year. So group number 4, I truly hope that you liked this reading. I hope that you found it insightful and that it was fun for you. And wherever you are in this world, I hope that you're having an amazing day or night, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings.